how to heal, like what heals people, sort of medicine and stuff. This presentation focuses more on alternative healing in nature-based religions, which is a branch of like kind of medicine in a way. Modern day, there's a lot of focus on like synthetic medicines and surgery, stuff like that. This is about the other side of kinda. And then it incorporates spiritual healing into chemical medicine, which is another thing that a lot of modern healing doesn't acknowledge. So, what is witchcraft? Witchcraft is typically a combination of non-synthetic healing measures and spirituality. Nature-based religion, so involves taking elements from nature, like the seasons, natural patterns. A lot of witches will worship like nature-based gods and goddesses, like the sun god, and so on. Also, witches are typically not devil worshippers. Common misconception, but they're not, usually. Okay, general themes and guidelines. So a lot of witches will follow these. Work in harmony with nature, so observe natural patterns and stuff. Be environmentally friendly, because a lot of the witches' way of life comes from more nature side of things, so they want to respect that. Natural healing, so using medicines provided by plants rather than synthetic compounds that are meant to replicate the effect of the plant, so it's like more original. Let's see. Witches are typically really different from each other. Like, there's not any one type of witch. There's lots of types, which means a lot of them don't follow these guidelines, but some of them do. So that's there. Wicca versus witchcraft, another really common misconception. Wiccans, hang on. Wicca would be like a religion. Witchcraft is a practice. Most Wiccans are witches, but not most witches are Wiccan. So Wiccans believe in a god and goddess. The two together that represent like the duality of nature, sun and moon, seasons and stuff. And then Wiccans often follow a moral code called the Wiccan Rede, which I talk more about in a second. And then the most common takeaway from the Wiccan Rede is the statement, if it harms none, do what you will. So, common Wiccan code there. Okay, rule of 3 is another Wiccan thing, but a lot of witches, observe it as well. It states that intention that you send out into the world will come back 3 times, kind of like karma. It stops a lot of people from, doing more negative intention things, because, it's just going to hurt you more, so why bother? And then this is in the Wiccan Rede, so respected by Wiccans, but other people follow it too. Okay, video. I think this is the more history related video, but there are 2 and they look the same, so I guess we'll find out when I play it. How do you play the video? Do you go off the right side
down.
of these?
Go down.
Oh, I see it. Okay, great. Play.
The general origin of modern-day witchcraft in the Western world, specifically Wicca, is mainly derived from Celtic paganism coming from the Isles of ancient Great Britain.
I think also a lot of people think that witchcraft is this religion. Wicca is a religion and Wicca is a closed religion and they practice witchcraft, but witchcraft in itself is a practice. Wiccans call themselves witches and they practice witchcraft within their religion. All Wiccans are witches, but not all witches are Wiccan. Wicca came about in the late 50s, 60s by Gerald Gardner, and he essentially took these Celtic practices, formed them around the wheel of the year, and formed a religious practice.
Yep, there you go. Okay. Hang on. Okay, pentagrams. Symbolism of the pentagram. You can see it has 5 points. I should probably say first that it's not the symbol of the devil, since it's such a common misconception. I don't know, I've talked to a lot of you, and not quite, but, what are you trying to say?
Okay, no questions till the end, please. Keep going.
Okay.
I want to make sure she finishes before the bell.
So, what the pentagram does symbolize, since it's not the devil, is, okay, so it's kind of labeled. You guys probably can't read it, but it's labeled. So, this is spirit, water, fire, earth, and air. So it's the 4 elements, and then this one. Because spirit is above these four elements, it sort of symbolizes like mind over body or like wisdom over strength, which is a big theme in witchcraft. The inverted pentagram, which I wasn't going to talk about, but whatever, has spirit on the bottom, so it's like body over mind, which is sort of like putting like pleasures before. Okay, this computer's falling asleep. I don't know what to do about that. I'm trying to wake it up, but I am moving the mouse. It's not waking up. Nope, spacebar's not working either. Okay, it's working. Okay, video again. This is an example of witch. Not how all witches are, but it's an example of one type. If I can figure out how to play videos.
Next, Dylan showed me the art of bone throwing, a type of divination practice. These bones are unbelievable. I am picking up a cloth.
This is actually a chicken.
This is a chicken's foot.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my gosh. So what is bone throwing that we're going to do?
Bone throwing is also known as claromancy, the art of throwing lots. This is more a very New Orleans tradition. And essentially the idea is that every bone has an association. You would ask a question, you would shake, you would throw the bones, and depending on where they land, that reveals your answer.
Should we try it?
Let's do it. Do you have a question?
I want to ask about money. I just want to know when the money is...
Okay, kind of a weird place to end the video, but whatever. We got it. Okay, and then another example of witchcraft, like a sort of branch. So there's the divination stuff that you just saw, the like bone throwing, but then there's also herbalism. Herbs have natural properties and associations that are used symbolically in magic a lot. They also have chemical properties that kind of make a big deal, like it's physically going to do something to you if you eat it, so that's important. For example, mice are repelled by mint, which is associated with purity, so kind of connected there. Herbalism is a lot more gentle than a lot of forms of synthetic medicine. A lot of synthetic medicine like tries to kill the disease but kills a lot of other stuff too, which ends up with a lot of dead stuff instead of when herbalism will often just give the body the power to like rebuild itself, kind of. Primarily a positive thing. Again, like not evil, okay? Emphasizes connection with nature. Herbs use natural materials to nourish and heal, give the body the tools it needs to heal itself, and then usually used with positivity, though of course negative intentions are possible, like always, though it's generally a positive thing. Alright, and then this is the person who I interviewed. Adrian. Adrian. Okay, she is an herbalist and a witch. She took a 200-hour course to learn about herbalism. She's felt a like connection to the forest her whole life, so that's kind of why she was interested in it. Also because for her personally, herbalism like worked when nothing else did, so there's that. She is a hedge witch. Hedge witches are like witches who will go into the more spiritual side of things, or across the hedge being the divide between the spiritual and physical, to find like wisdom that they can bring back for healing. Witches have fulfilled this role like throughout history, so yeah. And then because it's like a historical role, so like before the internet and such, there's usually just one witch per like area, which means they're all really different from each other. But they follow sort of similar, the like crossing of the hedge is the similarity there. Okay. Why people choose herbalism? It is generally more non-invasive, more gentle, and helps the body to rebuild itself. So this is like why this instead of other types of medicine. Dangers of alternative medicine. So this is kind of an important one. It's really dangerous if you're untrained. Like people can very easily underestimate the effects of this sort of thing, but it does have effects, so that's important. The field of herbalism is somewhat unregulated since it's often not recognized as like a recognized something. Let's say plants can be toxic in large amounts, so again, careful of that. And then the image here is an example of plants that you like encounter every day but are toxic in large amounts. So this is arsenic. Arsenic is found in apple seeds. You can eat apple seeds, but don't eat too many apple seeds because they'll give you arsenic poisoning. All right. So willow versus aspirin. These are both painkillers. Aspirin, they have the same like chemical component that is the painkiller. Aspirin is that isolated component in a like synthetic concoction, and then willow has it in its more natural state. So willow is typically not as strong and has less side effects, and then aspirin is just like less of the natural element, because there's more to willow than just that one compound, and I kind of feel like the other like natural energies of it sort of make a little bit of a difference. Okay, honey versus cough syrup. This is one that's been prescribed or like suggested by modern doctors a lot, is if a kid has a cough that like honey is an option at least. Honey is soothing to the throat. It's also more effective when you like mix it with apple cider vinegar, but it tastes really bad, so there's that. Cough syrup is actually just like stops the cough reflex, which doesn't solve the problem because there's still whatever it was in your throat that was making you cough. So I don't know. It's having trouble explaining that particular one, but I think honey kind of helps fight the infection, whereas coughing just suppresses the symptoms, which means you can't see it, but it's still there. I don't know. I'm not sure if you guys totally get that one, but anyway. Okay, so preparation of herbs and stuff. Grind thoroughly to release elements trapped within the cell membranes. Important step. And then so when you're harvesting a plant, never take more than 1/3 of the plant because you don't want to kill it. It's gotta, grow and such. And then you can concentrate on the energy of the plant to give it like kind of a stronger effect. Positivity, there you go. And then how herbs are stored, similar to the last slide. In labeled jars, including the Latin name, out of the sun. Sunlight is harmful to compounds in the plant unless it's a growing plant, in which case probably it will be in the sun because plants need sun. And then glass or ceramic containers are good. Usually like darker color glass or ceramic containers. I know it's not in the picture, but anyway. And then witchcraft in the ordinary. So a lot of ordinary objects witches will use because they're like around, and you don't want to use something that's hard to get because like what's the point if you can use the ordinary stuff anyway? You've probably seen quite a few of these. I mean, obviously I know you've all seen apples. Apples are good to bind to toxins in the body to carry them out. They have high fiber. They have some effect on snow blindness. If you like wrap them in a paper towel and then put them over your eyes, that helps. And then they're symbolic of like the autumn. So there's that. It's like seasonal celebrations is a big thing in witchcraft. Properties of garlic. If you rub garlic on things, it like ants are scared of it. So yes, ants. It helps with coughs. So if you eat like one bulb of garlic, that'll be good for coughs. Reduces blood pressure and is a symbol for protection. You guys probably all know garlic and vampires, protection. This is soap plant. Thought this plant was like super fascinating. I don't know that much about it, but its roots are used in the place of soap, and it's found in California. Right. And then this is sage, not sagebrush. They're super different. Sage is in the mint family and is edible. Sagebrush is poisonous, so it's important. Sage tea helps with stomach aches can help calm anxiety. It is associated with purity, protection, wisdom, and health. And then sagebrush, which is not sage. Sagebrush is poisonous, but it does have, if you like burn it, the smoke is antimicrobial, which means it kills bacteria. And it's also associated with purity. All right, conclusion. Witchcraft is typically about healing, and the herbalism combines intention with chemical effects of herbs to achieve a specific goal, and then many household items have magical properties, and then bibliography. Yes, I've all seen that. 2-year plan. I was thinking maybe I go into something like online marketing so I could travel around a bit and then just work like whatever jobs. So that's it. So there. Boom. Can I go?
Perfect timing. If you need to go, get the bus, you may go. You can ask Aero questions.